am I the asshole for demanding my fiance and his mom pay for a new wedding dress? Me, 26 female, and my fiance, 28 male, have been engaged for 4 months. We're planning on having our wedding on October 18th. My future mother-in-law kept annoying me and sending me suggestions for choosing the right wedding dress, and said that she knew better and tried to get me to approve of wedding dresses that she chose, and when she couldn't enforce her decision, she demanded I take her with me to buy my wedding dress so she could have an opinion. Before I went shopping, I asked her if she wanted to come, but started making excuses about how busy she was with my sister-in-law. So I went shopping with my mom, and I was able to find a really nice dress. I made some changes to it, and it was perfect. It arrived to my apartment at the end of the week, and I made sure it was stored in a safe place so it didn't get ruined. Yesterday, I got back from my mom's house, and I found that my fiance wasn't home. Neither was the dress. I called him immediately, knowing that he must have taken it to show it to his mom, since she continuously asked to see it and refused to have me send her pictures of it. I was so mad when it was confirmed that my fiance took it to show it to his mom, and he said he was going to be home in 30 minutes after he went to the supermarket. I waited for longer than I had to, and then when he arrived, I ran to get my dress that was buried underneath grocery bags. I took it to check on it, and its zipper was broken, and the dress itself was stretched out. I was like, what the fuck happened to it? My mother-in-law must have tried it on, because it looked ruined. I had to call my mother-in-law when my fiance told me his mom and sister took turns to try it on. I was absolutely livid. She told me she did nothing wrong and that I was making a big deal out of it. She said she'd get a replacement for the broken zipper, but I told her to pay for a new dress since it was stretched out and no longer fitting. She refused and said that I probably wasn't happy with my dress choice and wanted for her to pay so I could get a new one. My mom said she'd pay for fixing it, but I just hate it now that someone else wore it before me. I'm mad at both of them and seriously considering postponing the wedding.
Do it. The mother and the sister, emotional incest. You tried on that wedding dress because you want to fucking marry your son.
So like I said, this story time takes place in 2016, okay? This all started off as a very normal night. I was at my house, sitting in my room by myself, just on my computer, and I hadn't really talked to anybody all day. Like, I pretty much just spent that entire day on my computer by myself, and it got to be like 11, 12 at night, and I get this phone call from Jonathan, okay, and I answer it. It was definitely not out of the ordinary that he was calling me at 12 midnight. So I answer the phone, and I'm like, yo, and before I could even say, like, what's up or anything, he just goes, Austin, are you there? I was like, yeah, what's up, man? And he's, like, yelling, and I can tell him on speaker, like, it's really, really loud. There's a lot of background noise on the phone, and he's like, can I come through right now? I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right, I'll be right there, and he hangs up, and I had no time to ask him, like, why are you being so loud? Why are you talking so fast? Why do you sound super hyped up? Like, he just sounded so loud and hyped up. Like, it was really, really crazy. So I just assumed he was either really, really excited or talking really loud because he had the windows down in his car and had me on speaker. So I didn't really think much of it. I just figured, like, I'll see him in 10 minutes. So, like, 10 minutes go by, and I'm still sitting on my computer, and I hear a knock on my door. And it wasn't just a knock. It was a very, very loud knock, like, almost pounding knock. And I go downstairs pretty quick. I open the door, and he runs inside. And he lays down on the couch, and he's just out of breath. He's like... And I was like, all right, yo, like, you sounded so amped up on the phone. You're out of breath. You sound like you just ran a mile. Like, what happened? Why are you acting like this? He's like, hold on. Gotta catch my breath. I'm like, okay. So we sit there for like a whole minute, just waiting for him to catch his breath. He's panting in my living room. He's just so amped up. And I was like, all right, you ready to tell me? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're never gonna guess what I did. I was like, I'm not, so just tell me. He's like, no. Try and guess. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna guess what you did, Jonathan. Like, just tell me what you did. And he goes, you remember that new car I bought last week? Yeah, some backstory. Jonathan had just bought in a new car like a week prior to this. So I respond, I'm like, yes, I know about your new car. He's like, well, I was going really, really fast in this small town like 10 minutes from here, testing out how fast I can go. And let's just say, and I was like, oh shit, what happened? You pull over? He's like, nope, now I'm here. I was like, wait, hold on. What do you mean now you're here? Like, what do you mean you didn't pull over? He's like, well, Austin, the cop pulled out and started going really fast, so I started going even faster. And then another cop car pulled out of another parking lot and started chasing me as well. So I ended up driving through like 3 different towns, and then I took a couple turns, shut my lights off, parked, and I basically lost them. So then I drove over here as quick as I could, parked my car, and now I'm here. And I was like, dude, cannot run from the police, Jonathan, and then use my house as a hideout with your car right out front. Like, if they drive by and see your car, they're gonna know that I'm hiding you. Like, you're seriously risking me getting in trouble too, just because you didn't want a speeding ticket, bro. Like, it's not my fault you made a mistake. He's like, Austin, I didn't know who else to contact, man. Like, I didn't know who else I could call that would let me stay at their house. Like, you're the realest friend I got, man. Like, come on. I'm like, no. Don't try and suck up to me so I let you stay here. Like, nah, man, that's not working. I'm like, bro, you gotta go. Like, I'm sorry, like, you're a good friend of mine, but I cannot let you stay here. Well, he's like, I don't know how many are looking for me, but like, come on, man, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, dude, not to be mean, but you actually gotta go. Like, I don't do sleepovers anyway. You can't stay here. I'm not 12 years old anymore, and I also got a video to do. He's like, oh, I'll help you with your video, man. Like, we could tell a story together. I'm like, no. You are not getting a collab on my channel in exchange for what you did tonight. Like, go. He's like, fine. So he walks outside, and I'm watching him walk to his car, and then all of a sudden, he walks by his car, and out of nowhere, he just starts running, like full speed sprinting down the street. So I go outside and I yell, I'm like, Jonathan, what are you doing? Take your car. And he turns around and he yells, he goes, no, I'm running home. I was like, what are you talking about? That's 4 miles. You're not running home. You're the most unathletic person I know. He's like, well, things change, Austin. And he starts running away. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. So I go back inside, I sit down. Now I'm filled with anxiety because not only is my friend running home without his car because he left it in my driveway, he also could potentially get arrested if the police find him. So I'm just worried. I'm just freaked out, right? So I sit there for like 2 hours waiting to hear from Jonathan, and he finally calls me. I'm like, yo, what's good? He's like, yo, what's up, man? I got home a little while ago. I'm like, you actually ran home? He's like, yeah, I stopped at a corner store for a bit, but I'm home now. I'm like, bro, you gotta come get your car. Like, have someone drop you off, come get it. Like, I don't want your car here. He's like, dude, I don't want it here either. Like, my parents would kill me if they find out that I got in trouble. I'm like, dude, you didn't get in trouble, so come take the car, put it in your driveway where it belongs, and don't leave it in mine. He's like, don't worry, bro, I'll come get it first thing in the morning. I'm like, bro, what? And he hangs up on me. I'm like, yo, this dude is ridiculous. Like, I was so mad at him. So anyway, I end up sitting there on my computer all night, really anxious. And the next day comes along, I didn't sleep at all. I get a call from Jonathan at 9:30 in the morning. And I answer it, I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, hey, man, I'm coming over to get the car now. I'm like, good. He goes, I got caught by the police. I'm like, yo, wait, what? He's like, yeah, they saw my license plate number last night somehow. An officer came to my house like 40. He yelled at me in front of my parents and then gave me a really expensive ticket. But I got super lucky. Like, he told me he was giving me a break because of how young I was and that I was a new driver. I'm like, dude, you don't understand how lucky you are at all. Like, most people would go to jail for that. He's like, yeah, man, for sure. Like, I'm really lucky. I'm like, all right, like, glad you know. Now come get your car out of my driveway. He's like, yeah, for sure. I'll be there in a bit with my dad. I'm like, all right, cool. So like 30 minutes go by and him and his dad pull into my driveway in his dad's car. And he gets out of the car with his keys. He gets into his car, and him and his dad pull out of my driveway together, and they wave goodbye, and they leave. And I no longer had his car sitting in my driveway, and in the end, everything was okay. Now, Jonathan is very lucky that in the end everything was okay, because Jonathan definitely could have gotten in really big trouble. But yeah, in the end everything was all good. Moral of the story is, do not be like Jonathan. This story time takes place 2 years ago. I was 18 years old, hanging out with 2 friends of mine. We were just driving around. We just got done getting food. It was a Friday night, and my friends had plans to go to this club. Now, I did not want to go to the club. I'm not really a club person. I don't really go that much. They went all the fucking time, and they wanted to go on this night. So I was like, you know what, whatever. Like, you guys just drop me off at my other friend's house. You guys go to the club, and we'll hang out when you guys are done. And they're like, all right, cool, sounds like a plan. So they took me and brought me to another friend of mine's house and dropped me off there. And then my 2 friends went to the club, and I was now with my other friend, and we were just hanging out pretty much, just chilling at his house. And he smoked a lot of weed, like all the fucking time. He was always stoned, and it's a crucial part of this story time. So after a few hours of hanging out at his house, we get a call on my phone from my 2 friends who were at the club, and they're like, yo, dude, we're done with the club. Can you come pick us up? And I was like, do you want to go pick them up? I asked my friend. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So me and my friend drive off from his house to this club to go pick up my other 2 friends, and we pull up to the club, park out front, and we're just waiting there. And my friend's like, yo, you mind? I was like, yeah, do whatever, go for it. So he starts smoking a blunt in the front seat of his car with the window down, and there's like all these people walking by just looking at us because they were all leaving the club. And then all of a sudden we see my 2 friends come out, and we're like, guys, over here. And they both come up to the car, and my one friend was so shit-faced. He had just turned 21 around this time, so he was like really celebrating. And yeah, he was just really fucking drunk. That's why he wasn't driving. He must have left his car like in the back parking lot or something for the night. And he gets in the car, and so does my other friend, and we're all just kind of packed in my friend's car now. My friend's finishing his blunt, and then all of a sudden I hear my one friend, the drunk one, say, holy shit, is that the earth science teacher from our school? And we all start laughing because we think that he's just pointing out some random person that happens to look like a teacher from our school. But then I look, and I actually see the earth science teacher from our fucking high school that I went to. And I was like, holy shit, that's actually him. And my friend's like, no way. And my friend rolls the window down and starts yelling his name. He's like, come here. We got some students in the car. And none of us were students. Like, we were all either graduated or, there was me, for example, the one who didn't. But, we weren't in school anymore. So I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, leave him alone. He's just trying to have a nice night. And he walks up to the car and he's shit-faced. My fucking old high school teacher is shit-faced. He's like, guys, what are you guys doing here? No way. And he's like freaking out because he's happy to see us. And I'm like so surprised because from what I remember, he wasn't the nicest teacher in high school. He wasn't like the chill one. He wasn't the one that let you get away with anything or like had a lot of leniency. He was like the one that was kind of like strict. He was that motherfucker that you were like, yo, this teacher definitely has a calculator up his ass or something. But he was feeling good on this night. He was so happy to see us, and like it was clear that he was a little bit drunk. And then he sees my friend, the one in the front seat who was smoking the blunt, and he's like, hey, you smoking weed? And he like gets really serious looking. And in my head, I'm just like, oh no, here we go. Like here comes the teacher pep talk where he's like, you're way too young. Don't be smoking weed. It's bad for you. So my friend replies to him. He's like, yeah, it's weed. And the teacher just goes, oh, okay. So can I hit it or what? And we all just look at each other like, did he just say that? And before we could even process what he said, he just starts smoking it. And we're all just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And he takes like 2 pretty good puffs and then hands it back to my friend. And he puts his arm around his girlfriend, his date that he was with. And then he looks at my friend and he's like, all right, don't tell school about that one. All right, I gotta get going, guys. Have a good night. It's good seeing you. He turns around and he starts walking away with his girlfriend. And me and my friends just look at each other. And my friend just goes, he's definitely my new favorite teacher. And we all just start laughing our ass off. And that was pretty much one of the funniest moments of my life, to be honest. And I hope wherever that teacher is, he's living his best life.
First of all, I lost some kids. Okay, let me start over. I was in the computer lab, so I had all grade levels, from kindergarten to 5th grade. I had to go pick up the first graders and the kindergartners from their classrooms and then bring them back. No one showed me the proper way to do that. No one showed me how to create a line. So I'm like, it's common sense. Let me just do it the way I kind of remember from when I was in 5th grade. Actually, 4th grade, because I wasn't in elementary school in 5th grade. That's a different story time. So I just did my best. And I thought it was going pretty well, but these things happen. I thought my line was pretty alright. I'm like, okay, these kids are actually listening to me and this is a pretty good line. A teacher saw them and then starts screaming, this is a hot mess! Not to me, but to the kids. Eyes facing forward, feet facing straight, volume at 0! These kids turned into little military soldiers. Little 1st graders. It was like automatic, like robots. Again, I don't think my line was all that bad. She was screaming at this kid like, you don't need to say anything right now. And the kid was like, okay. I was like, what is happening? Sorry, there was a man. This is probably the reason that I was told all day long, she's so nice. I would pass by the halls, kids would see me and be like, I like her, she's such a nice sub. Or she's really cool, I really like her. Like, why can't you stay with us every day? And it's not that I'm not disciplining the kids, I am. I'm just not in the kids' face telling them volume 0. But hey, she's a pro, she got them all quiet. The teacher next door to me was shouting all day long. And again, the kids were great. We talked about anime, we did breathing exercises. I gave out the stickers and they really enjoyed them. We had fun. I just can't imagine taking care of a group of kids every single day for an entire school year. Mad respect to teachers. I had mad respect before, but like, oh my gosh. How could you just come to work and scream? Because one of the teachers was helping me out and she did say, yeah, that teacher's screaming all the time. She's like, her group of kids are rough. And that's it. That's it. You just get a group of kids that are rough and you're just screaming all year long? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She never stopped shouting. Nope. When I was returning the 1st graders, 3 of them thought it would be great to just run back to their classroom without letting me know. And since I haven't been to this school since I was in 2nd grade, I had to check the map every 2 seconds. That's when they slipped away. I returned all the kids, counted, and looked and saw that there were none left. I obviously started panicking. Went to the classroom with another teacher, asked if those students had returned, and of course they had. Oh my gosh. And the teacher was like, it's okay, it happens. They know where they're going sometimes. I'm just gonna stick to middle school and high school, guys. Thanks.